is living according to his teaching, he forgives them, because that's what the kingdom of God is. That's what makes the kingdom of God distinct from other kingdoms. So he chooses to forgive them because he had taught his disciples to forgive their enemies and not to curse them. Secondly, he had also taught that what people bind here on earth is also bound in heaven. So in that respect, if people were to forgive each other here, even in heaven, they would be forgiven as well. So he made sure that the principles that he taught, even when he was going through a very, very horrid time, he was still able to live according to his standards.
Does this mean that if somebody wrongs me and I feel inside my spirit that I've forgiven, and then when I utter the statement that, Lord, probably I might not utter it verbally, I might do it just inside my spirit, will that mean that person will be forgiven before that person asks for forgiveness from God?
I think God sees what happens in our hearts. The author of the psalmist tells us that, Lord, you discern my thoughts from afar. Even before a word comes out of my mouth, you know it already. Which goes to show that even if we do not say it audibly, but we say it but meaning with all our hearts, God is able to receive that and acknowledge that. But all the same, not everyone is a prophet. Mostly it is for the benefit of the individual or the offender when we verbalize what we are feeling in our hearts, not for the benefit of God, because he knows already. So it's much, much better when we actually release the words. But all the same, what counts is whether we mean it with our hearts, because at times we can say with our words, but without really meaning what we are saying.
We also see there's one of the soldiers who is mentioned as having pierced Jesus on his side, and there came blood and water. Did this signify anything?
In a way, without wanting to spiritualize things, but when I look at that, we hear that the Roman soldier or the centurion had actually pierced the side of the Lord with a very big spear. And it's not surprising that fluid would come out, there are bodily fluids that will be there, and as well as blood would come out. And in a way, we are able to understand that that actually brought the final blow on the life of the Lord, because one could not continue being alive after being pierced with such a big spear. Moreover, it is actually proven medically that when a person dies, about 6 minutes after their death, a process begins to take place wherein red blood cells begin to separate from white blood cells, and that process usually brings about a watery fluid. So in a way, that actually shows that the Lord had actually died even when the spear came through.
I understand, Pastor, there's a verse that out of his belly shall flow rivers of living waters. Doesn't this join together, or doesn't this have any connection with this water that flew out of his belly?
That is a verse that we find in the 7th chapter of John, where we hear the Lord having finished at the end of the Feast of Tabernacles, a feast that was celebrated over 7 days. And on the last day, we hear that he stood up and he says, if any man thirst, let him come to me, and out of his bellies shall rivers of living waters flow. That in that particular context, we understand that he was talking about that kind of water that Isaiah even prophesied about, that come and buy even without money. Come and buy this kind of water so that your life can be safe. So in this context, I want to believe that Christ is talking about, when he speaks about living water, he's speaking about the new life that comes from Christ, the new life that is found when people are in God.
Okay. Your last words to the viewers, Pastor, in connection to the crucifixion of Christ.
My word of encouragement is that the work that Christ has done, he has done everything. Our responsibility is to open up, to receive, and to experience the newness of life. And we learn that it's never too late, whether we are old, whether we have been living a lifestyle that has been very, very much on the lines of disobedience. We see right from the story of the robbers, he had had a career of stealing and killing and robbing people, but even at his very end, Christ was able to receive him and to forgive him. So we learn that Christ is not like men. He can accept us at any time, even today. May the Lord be with you. Thank you very much.
On that note, viewers, we've come to the end of our program. Today we had Pastor Elliot Masomera. Thank you so much, men of God. For your views and comments, please contact us on the details appearing on your screen. For myself, Kelvin Kumbula, and the entire production crew, it's a goodbye.
Makanaka,